Welcome to episode 10.
Hey, this is John Lee Dumas of EO Fire, and you're listening to Who Did That Voice, where we take an in-depth look at voiceovers.
Are you ready to plan your next vacation getaway? Then I recommend using 3D Travel Company. They are more powerful than pixie dust, more fantastic than flu powder, and they never charge a fee. Whether you're booking a Disney or Universal vacation, a relaxing cruise, or a luxury trip overseas, you'll experience concierge-level service unmatched by any agency. From the moment you submit a complimentary quote request or inquiry on their website at www.3dtravelcompany.com, you'll find out what it means to be pampered by the best in the business. That's 3, the letter D, travelcompany.com. And tell them Trenton sent you.
Welcome to Who Did That Voice, the show where we take an in-depth look at voiceover. And now, here's your host, Trenton Larkin.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to the conclusion of Bill Rogers, the voice of Disneyland, and Camille Dixon, the voice of Disney's California Adventure.
Ladies and gentlemen,
boys and girls,
welcome to Who Did That Voice?
In just a moment, the show will begin.
So please, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
Well, Bill, is there a motivational or inspirational quote that you have that you use through your life, or that you and Camille share together? Or
Well, the one that I've latched onto in the past couple of years, I think is about as apropos as you can make it. Always find a way to say yes. Never find a way to say no.
Very interesting. Why is that your quote, Bill?
Well, it's I don't know. I can't imagine that I actually thought that one up. But I just
why do you like it?
The reason I like it so much is because if in this world you want to get ahead and you really want to find what it is that makes you tick and makes the rest of the world work for you, the answer is yes, always. If someone approaches you and says, "Can you do this?" the first answer should come out of your mouth is yes. Even if you've never done it before, they said they didn't ask you, are you able to do this? They said, "Can you do it?" And so the idea here is to appreciate the fact that they're giving you the chance, and then what you're going to do is you're going to go and quickly look up and figure out how to do whatever it is they want done. If you say no, you have closed off the door to an entire conversation, maybe even a whole life part. And no being, is the true part of negativity. I mean, it's all there is to it. And, and if you've taken classes in improv, you will know right off the bat that there's only one way to go, and that's yes and. So that, in other words, when someone says something, no matter how silly it is, your job is to say, yeah, and guess what else? And maybe that way you can take it somewhere. Always when you say yes, whatever it is that you're doing, you can take that somewhere. And that somewhere, depending on how lucky you are, could be incredible.
That's something I'd never thought of. It's like burning a bridge before you started if you say no, but the endless opportunities that are there if you say yes could go anywhere or could go not as far, but saying yes definitely opens up the possibility for who knows.
Exactly.
And us oldsters have learned that everything that we've done in our lives adds up, and it makes a difference, and it creates this richness to your life that you never could have imagined when you were a teenager or in your 20s. And even, those drudge jobs that we took. I cleaned construction sites for a time when I was trying to get my voiceover business going, and showed up one day on the construction site to clean up, and they'd sent me to the wrong place, and we were supposed to dig a trench and replace a pipe. And so the foreman looked at me and said, "Are you sure you want to do this?" And I said, "Yeah, I need to get paid today." So I did the job, and so now I can say that I have actually dug ditches. And
Wow.
so, but it's
And voiceover certainly beats that by a country mile.
yes, it does. It does. But I'm not afraid of hard work, and neither is Bill. He's scrubbed lots of toilets in his day, and
Yep.
continues to do so. By the way, at home, he's awesome. But you never know where those experiences are going to take you. So I agree with Bill. Always try to find more ways to say yes than no.
That's wonderful. Well, Camille, do you have a special quote that's dear to your heart?
Basically, for me, it's you're only grumpy if you forget to be grateful. And that's something that I have to remind myself of a lot when I'm feeling grumpy about something. I have to remember that I'm lacking some gratitude for what I have and how amazing my life is and how blessed I am. So I think that's an important lesson for me every day. And because it's absolutely true for me.
Well, that's a most excellent word, because if we're not grateful, I know for myself, I'm definitely probably a grump. So that's good to know. Your guys' motivational words are very inspirational, and I'm sure everyone will enjoy those as much as I have. So thank you so much for both sharing that with us today. The next thing I would like to ask you guys is, Camille, let's start with you. What advice would you give to someone who is interested in pursuing a voiceover career?
First of all, even if you're just going to be an announcer or a phone system voice or doing non-broadcast narration like I do, take some acting classes. Really and truly, it's very important to have some background. I got far enough to know that I was never going to be an actress, but learning how to imbue some emotion into what you're doing is very important. But I think the most important thing for someone in voiceover is to figure out what your strengths and your weaknesses are, to find your place in the industry and be really honest with yourself about where that is. That doesn't mean that you can't try for goals and to stretch and to learn and to, work into different areas. Not at all. But to be honest with yourself about what you're really good at and find that place and then just go for it.
That's your happy place. Yeah.
And the second, or third thing, there was acting and then finding your place. And the third and really most important thing is to don't let fear stop you. Fear is always going to be there. Fear is always a part of the creative process and the creative person's life. And you just can't let it stop you. It's fear. It's like Franklin Roosevelt said, we have nothing to fear but fear itself. And it turns out that fear really doesn't have to be the big monster that it feels like. And if you can get past it, you're going to go to some wonderful places.
Oh, that's a beautiful word. Thank you so much for sharing, because fear is definitely something that an actor needs to keep themselves motivated, but make sure they can keep it in check and push on forward.
You will have times where you will make a fool of yourself. And that's just how it's going to go. And you're going to walk away from a session thinking, oh, that was the worst. I can't believe it. I'll never work again. But you probably will.
Yeah.
Just keep on persevering.
Yes.
Well, Bill, what advice would you have to share with our listeners, those that are interested in potentially pursuing a voiceover career?
I think, first of all, I'm very much in the same vein as Camille. You've got to learn to act. Without doubt. If that means going to a community college and getting to be a part of their little theater group, if you're still in high school and want to produce get into the drama club. I mean, it will help you in ways that you will never completely understand, but always appreciate. So acting, number one. Number two, don't expect it to happen overnight. We know a lot of overnight sensations that have taken 10 and 12 years to get started. The idea is give yourself some time to do the things that you know will take you in the right way, because there are always going to be people who have classes on how to do something. But my suggestion more than anything else is use your own head until you get to the point where you can actually take classes that will do you some good after that. And how do you do that? Well, every one of us have a smartphone these days, and every one of those smartphones has a recording device. My suggestion is that you get yourself a good pair of headphones that you can plug into that phone so that you can hear back after you've recorded something and listen to yourself. Get used to the idea of your own voice. And also get used to the idea of how a specific piece of copy, no matter what it is, how it should sound. And when you can make it sound the way you think it should sound, then that's the time you go get some classes. But until then, just make sure that you can buy fancy equipment if you really want to. But my suggestion is use your phone first and make sure that you understand where you are as a voice.
Most interesting. So make sure, like you're saying, test it out before you go out and buy all this equipment and realize it's not even something you want to do or something you want to pursue. Just try it out on a basic
it's
level.
really interesting because today's telephones, today's cell phones and smartphones and whatever you want to call them are really excellent pieces of recording gear. I mean, I lived in a time when we used to record on a piece of wire. Literally, it was a fairly thin piece of wire, but nonetheless, it was one of those things. We'd take this out on a remote location and record sound effects and other people's voices with it, and bring it back. It was a spool of wire, and that's all there was to it. And it had all the fidelity of a flip phone.
Wow. Well, do you, Bill or Camille, do y'all have any upcoming projects that you would like to share with our audience today?
We have a number of wonderful things coming our way, but right at the moment, we found also that it's a jinx, that if you talk about them too much. So I will tell you that, yes, we are very grateful for some wonderful things that are forthcoming, and we'll be sure to let you and all your listeners know when that time comes. Except there is this one small thing. Cammy?
Well, it's a project that we started for me 6 years ago. We're still working on it. So this is one of those never give up kinds of moments. It's a television show because I do some on-camera work for PBS. And then we're both the promo voices for the PBS station in Los Angeles as well. So that's where this originated. It's a show on creativity and innovation. It'll be a half-hour weekly series that we're the producers of and I'm the host of. And we are almost done with our pilot. And we're very excited about that because it will originate from Los Angeles and then it will emanate across the country from there. But we want to tell the stories of creativity and innovation no matter where it exists. So, of course, that's arts and entertainment, but it's science, education, hopefully government. You never know, they could surprise us. But it's individuals, too, who are trying to make a difference. For instance, in our pilot, we're featuring a story on Homeboy Industries. We have been in Los Angeles. Bill's been in Southern California for 30 years, and I've been commuting now for 19 years, and I did not know about Homeboy Industries until about 3 years ago. I was at the grocery store. We needed some chips and salsa. I went to the produce section to get some fresh salsa, and there was a container that said Homeboy Industries, and underneath it was the tagline. It's going to make me cry again, which I did in the grocery store. Nothing stops a bullet like a job. And it's a nonprofit organization started by a priest in one of the worst parts of Los Angeles to help give jobs to gang members. And they have about 15,000 kids who come through this program every year. They do tattoo removal. They have classes for parents to learn how to be parents, guys who have been in jail and don't really even know their kids. They don't know how to play with their children. They don't know how to show up for a job. Haven't graduated from high school, those kinds of things. And so they have made such a difference in Los Angeles. And, we want to tell those stories in this program among many, many others. So
Yeah,
we're kind of excited about that.
we are.
Well, that sounds really wonderful. I think that tagline for that company is
cool?
amazing. The best way to stop a bullet is a job. I'd be very fascinated to watch that. That sounds very interesting, and I applaud you guys for what you're doing. That's very, very, very interesting. Well, guys, do you have a website, Bill, that you could share with everyone if anyone was interested in acquiring your voiceover services?
Oh, thank you for asking. All of the information you absolutely need to know is on this very wonderful website, www.bill, B-I-L-L, Rogers, R-O-G-E-R-S, .L-A.
And Camille, do you have a way people can contact you as well if they should require your services?
Yes, it's CamilleDixon.com, and it's Dixon.
Well, thank you guys for sharing that with us today.
Oh, thank you.
I'm sure there will be lots of people who will be interested in checking out both of your websites. Before we go, I have 2 final questions for each of you. Bill, we'll start with you, and then Camille will end with you. Bill, what is your favorite cartoon character and why?
Oh, wow. That's a good question. Because the really bizarre part about it is that I grew up with all of the Mel Blanc and all of the Dawes Butler stuff, but it was neither one of those two. It was an incredible man by the name of Stan Freberg who came up with this voice, and he did it standing literally on the other side of a microphone from Mel Blanc. And the name of the creature is, you're going to laugh, but my favorite cartoon character is a Martian. And it isn't my favorite Martian, it's Marvin the Martian. Marvin the Martian was created by a fellow by the name of Stan Freberg, who has come up with wonderful characters, but most of those characters have come up because he was standing across on the other side of a microphone from the inimitable Mel Blanc. And Marvin the Martian is one of those few characters who's shown up in about 3 or 4 different short comedies, and his voice was just absolutely one of those things that just blew me away. And Freberg blew me away with all of his silliness. One of these days, we've got to sit down, or somebody has to sit down and come up with a full history of all of the craziness that is Stan Freberg. So we'll do that in another episode. But nonetheless, Marvin is, where is the earth-shattering kaboom? That's my favorite line.
Well, Marvin is actually my very favorite character, and he was the first voice that I ever mimicked as a kid. So.
Oh, awesome.
That is cool. That is cool.
He was actually a huge reason on my About Me page why I created this show, and it was all started with my father imitating his voice, and then I did it, and kind of got me into this world of voiceover before I even really knew what it was. So, but I'm glad that Marvin is your favorite character. That's awesome. And as far as Walt Disney movies go, Bill, what is your favorite Disney movie and why?
Oh,
animated.
That's almost impossible. Well, I tell you what my favorite is right now. Finding Dory. Yes. And before Finding Dory, my favorite Disney movie was Zootopia.
It's whatever the current movie is.
The current Disney animated movie seems to be my favorite movie of the year. I love all of them. I remember pieces from every last one of them, and they are all spectacularly good. Just because they came from the mind of some of the craziest people I've ever met.
That is most fascinating to hear. Well, Camille, the same questions for you. What is your favorite cartoon character and why?
Mine is Charlie Brown. And I think, Charlie Brown, I don't know why. It's just I've always loved Charlie Brown. I grew up in the era where we didn't have video recorders, and you had your one shot every year to watch Charlie Brown Halloween or Charlie Brown Thanksgiving or Charlie Brown Christmas. And it was such a special thing to sit down in front of the TV and watch it, and it was over so quickly. And then, of course, when videotape became available, I bought them all and got my kids hooked on them. And so they're adults now, but we still do an annual Charlie Brown marathon in the fall where we watch Halloween, Thanksgiving, and Christmas. And I think it just kind of reminds me of great childhood memories and the innocence of childhood. And yeah, I just love Charlie Brown. No matter what, he keeps on trying.
Well, that's very special to hear, Camille. He's definitely a character who's dear to my heart, too. I was Charlie Brown in Charlie Brown the Musical, so.
Oh, cool.
And he is definitely one of those characters that has to persevere through the most adverse situations, it seems, at times. And, the fact that you get to share those memories you had as a child with your kids, I know that has to bring back some amazing memories.
Yes, definitely.
Have you ever read It Only Hurts When I Laugh?
I have not.
That is Stan's first autobiography.
Okay.
And you need to read it, because I promise you'll be on the floor most of the time with howls of laughter, because all of the things that were so much a part of my childhood, and I know now part of yours.
Yes.
Those things are all explained in graphic detail in this book. and he has a whole lot to say about Mel Blanc and getting to the Warner Brothers lot at the age of 17, and he was an incredibly cool guy.
I'll definitely have to check it out.
Yep. Yeah, most likely you'll find a copy on Amazon someplace along the line, or in a library somewhere even, maybe.
Maybe. The last question, Camille, is what is your favorite Disney movie and why?
I think I have to agree with Bill. It's because every time a Disney film comes out, they just outdo themselves. And so I just feel like, whichever the last one was, it always makes me cry. And so I'm feeling the same way. Recently, though, I'd say Inside Out. In the last 5 years, Inside Out is really the one that got me because, I have kids.
It is one of the most amazing, phenomenal movies of any kind, ever made. Yeah.
And Big Hero 6. I mean, they're just some great storytelling. We're starting to see some different things. We're exploring things beyond kind of the typical fairy tales, which in and of themselves are incredibly magical and classics. But I love where the storytelling is going, with Brave and Inside Out and Zootopia. And we've got some great messages without being preachy.
Absolutely. I totally agree. Well, Bill and Camille, thank you both so very much for being on the show today. It was an absolute pleasure. Would you both just please close us out today in your own special way?
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, thank you for joining us today.
Hey everyone, thanks so much for tuning in for this special two-part episode. I can't believe we've already hit our 10th episode. I can't wait to see where we are when we hit our 100th. Hey everyone, don't forget I'll be at ToonFest tomorrow in Marceline, Missouri, so if you're there or if you're going to come on by, please let me know. I'd love to meet you. Well everyone, that's all the time we have for this episode. Join us this Wednesday for a special midweek episode with Michael Bell, the voice of Duke from G.I. Joe. Yo, Joe! Hey, are you ready to win some awesome prizes? All you have to do is like our Facebook page or follow us on Twitter for your chance to be instantly and automatically entered for your chance to win.
Thank you for joining us today. We'll see you next time for more discoveries on Who Did That Voice.